So I'll start off with my little bit. Turning into the giant winged reptilian creature, and then flying Leandrin in my beak over to Neverwinter. Stop by Xanthus's old camp. We've seen a kind of a spot of corruption, I guess is the best way to say it. We decided to kind of investigate further and dig around in it, and we found this kind of disgusting egg-like blood orb that, with a little bit of attempts to, well, how do I say this correctly? With, a bit of effort to cut it open, a creature was starting to form within its mass, its bloodied mass from the hole in the middle. Uh, Varnick was able to dispel the magic, creating this creature. We found a kind of a unique blue gem on the center of it. We then proceeded to go to actually make it to Neverwinter, visited our cat's shop for a massive chunk of, was it fire quartz? Fire opal? Fire opal. And a few supplies. Most notably a couple diamonds and a little gold brazier. And Leandrin took a trip over to, what is her Dreamless Sleep shop? Its name, the potion
Gilded
shop.
Lily.
Gilded Lily. And had a very spicy conversation, which Varnick would not be able to understand the much of, other than maybe the outline. And from our perspective, I think that's the most of it.
Very well said, Varnick. A portion of the adventures recounted. Go ahead and take inspiration. Who else?
I'll add in my little tidbit of what was going on. Yes, Varnick had whisked Leandrin away in his Quetzalcoatlus beak. And we were flying for some time, and then there was this other giant flying creature that was diving down into the forest and taking its prey. The exact animal I cannot recall what it was feasting upon, but I know that it was something that was a bit unusual in its appearance. It not entirely a manticore. It's something else, something probably just as powerful, just as malevolent. And Leandrin was just like, "Please tell me we're not going over there." And with a, the giant bird said no. We did in fact go towards this Xanthos's campsite. After a bit of convincing, Leandrin was happy to use Varnick as a improvised shovel, and we found that weird thing. Taking a couple swings at it, it started oozing, and Leandrin's Dompier nature was like, "Oh, it looks delicious." But with a quick dispel magic from Varnick's natural intuition, we managed to stop a secondary avatar, I'm guessing, of our good buddy Malik. Now, with that said and done, Leandrin kept that little vial, and we got to Neverwinter, where we did go, in fact, speak with Arkots, who's been using the fire opal to stoke the forges in a more efficient manner, therefore cutting some of his production costs down a little bit, saves money on the coals. He was not the most receptive of Leandrin and Varnick visiting at that time, which they did. Leandrin got some insight as to whether or not Arkots would be able to create a thing for her, and he could. The results of which would not yet be determined, as she did not commission the piece to be made. Varnick did get his gold gilded vial, however. The interesting part for Leandrin comes when she went to the Gilded Lily, originally to pick up all the potions and such for her friend Uller, but then she was curious for another thing to potentially protect herself in a desperate situation. And she inquires with their old supplier of purple worm venom. And they are, and Dreamless Sleep is happy to sell it at the going rate as friends, but instead offers a free vial and a second one in exchange for killing Halia Thornton. Now, Leandrin has never liked Halia that much, especially after the good old buddy Mortimer was tasked to kill her, but she was conflicted in that moment. But she has an idea of what she should do now. She verbally accepted the mission, was quickly asked to leave after the Varnic sword suddenly started swinging around the shop like, "Hey, look, there's potions here. What is that? A resistance potion?" And just causing chaos as this thorn whipping sword is just exploring the environment within. At which point, Leandrin's just like, I would love a bath. I don't think I've had a bath in 5 years. And was going towards the Moonstone Mask at the end of their little journey.
A very accurate summation of the events here in Neverwinter. What else of the chaos that's been unfolding in Phandalin, Adriel, Uller, Gwyn? What have you done?
Well, first off, our merry trio wandered off into the woods to find just the right piece of wood for a very special project, building Varnic a new body so that the sword bolg could become a wood bolg. We wandered through the woods, noticing the absence of the T-Rex. Got a tree, felled the tree, dragged it back, and crafted a beautiful Fearbolg man with a little bit of dwarf in his face, and a spring-loaded mace down below, a club even.
Nay, a polearm, I think, if we're being historical here.
Probably a polearm. You're right. You're right. That's +1, of course. And after that, we went into the tavern and harassed Bryce, for what he knew about. I think Faye, right? That's what we were asking him about primarily. Did that. We were eventually led into a more private area to talk further. The goat house, the goat barn, the goat laboratory, even. And we conversed a bit further among the abominations that used to be goats. And eventually it was revealed that one of the goats was not a goat abomination, but in fact something far worse, Fae, which is almost as bad as an elf. It ran off. I shot my web at it. They got stuck in it, of course. And then we stopped it from committing suicide. And I think we ended it with us dragging the satyr back into the inn.
Very well said. Some paranoid conversation from the party regarding the summons they had received to the court of the Chestnut, knowing that Adriel and company have been legally summoned to testify upon the account of Adabra, the Phandalin wise woman, regarding the traffic and distribution of pixie dust, as well as certain accusations regarding the kidnapping and murder of pixies. What else do we remember that's salient to the session? Uller? Adriel? Anything?
I think that was pretty much everything from my perspective.
Yeah, we went into the woods. We collected the necessary requirements to try to forge Varnic's body. I think that Uller used a little bit of his forest and natural wilderness exploration to help the group find everything. Coming back and not feeling right, he was sitting up on top of the roof trying to spot anything he could. Failed, and Bryce was punched square in the face. The creature took off. A quick shot of the web slowed it down. Lure hunters marked it, so if it tried to run away, it'd be able to track it down. The stopping of the poison. Bryce came out with a massive jug of something, started pouring it all over the inn, and started lighting it on fire. But Quinn throwing out a ray of frost to try to combat the flames and was successful in that. And we, I believe, left us off in a satyr being tied up and bound with webs and going to be ropes, or possibly ropes now, and moving our way back to the tavern.
Very well said. Half the party in a panic about pixies, the Sleeping Giant Inn having almost been torched last night. However, Varnick and Leandrin, unbeknownst to any of that, currently finishing up their activities here within Neverwinter. Your shopping having been completed, you know that rest is necessary before the next day comes. Seeking the refuge of the Moonstone Mask, Varnick, Leandrin, you begin to ascend the stairways that connect the floating earth moats that rise out of the Protector's Enclave to Neverwinter's favorite watering hole. Any conversations en route?
So, tell me, did you absolutely have to go whipping around a store like a demon-possessed weapon?
I mean, it was probably for me. It was more entertaining to go explore, look around, and move than
Could have just
listen on your possibly terrible thing you're planning on doing.
Oh, I was just acquiring some tools.
Purple worm venom.
Does he recognize that it's purple worm venom?
I was here before, and it was offered to me before.
Oh, true.
It is well said. I think that also with Varnick's passive nature score, he would certainly recognize any ichor that he had seen before.
Well, yes, it's a special kind of tool, Varnick. Whether or not I'll have to use it is the other matter. But if you were bored, you could have just asked me to lay you outside the door before I walked in.
What was wrong with me moving around?
You're a sword. A sentient sword. Most people in any walks of life are not likely to have seen one, let alone have one whipping around like some comic book creature.
I mean, fearbolgs aren't very common in general. Like,
yes, but have you seen yourself in the mirror? Maybe I had to show you in a mirror because.
Blade. I mean, that's not. I mean, there's a bunch of those.
All I'm just saying is that it created a small scene. Look, I'm sorry if I'm always so eccentric, but there's always things that I want to do. And if you wanted to be outside of the room, just say telepathically in my head. I've had so many things in my head, it might as well just be open invitation.
So why are you here to this place?
I have something I wanted to do. I don't know if you as a sword would enjoy a good polishing or whatnot, but I can supply you your own room.
You know,
Varnick, you remember your last trip to the Moonstone Mask. Though you had come here in your Furbolg form, you got a lovely massage. You had your first bath in 6 months. It was a very pleasant experience.
this feels weird to say this, but sure, I guess I'll get myself polished.
You see the naughtiest grin on Leandrin's face.
Well,
Polish it
I'm
shall
ready.
be then.
I'm ready for the next day.
Leandrin will enter the Moonstone Mask with the sword in tow. Oh wait, I guess I'll ask. Do you want me to let them know that you're sentient?
I mean, they'll figure it out pretty quick.
Okay.
So, as the party enters the Moonstone Mask, addressed by the Major Domo at the front, asking, "What is your pleasure? And what is your purpose?" How do you answer? You can see the silver-masked employees that move about in an almost ritualistic dance of hospitality. You know the reputation of this place, which is that all those who work here have their memories wiped at the end of each shift as they take off the characteristically blank masks enchanted with modify memory spells.
Well, I would absolutely love a bath. A rush ordered to clean my armor, and a room, and some company for the night. As you see her dark purplish skin blush a little bit lavendery.
Can I just have someone polish me before I can even speak?
Oh yes, this is a sentient sword. His name is Varnick. He loves his polishing. A mirror finish would be excellent.
The slightest hesitation as you see the masked Major Domo take a moment to press the quill into the ink before opening the guest book and saying, "Very well. Any preferences shall be served. What sort of company?" And looking toward the cross hilt of the sword. "And what sort of treatment?"
You know, I've never been asked that question before.
You poor thing.
Yeah, this has been a recent experience for me.
Well, it need not be an entirely unpleasant one.
Well, as I said, a bath, clean my hair. I would love for my armor to be cleaned quickly, if possible, and a drow, perhaps someone older than I am.
Very well. A slow hand scratching down the instructions. Looking back toward the cross hilt of the sword. A standard polishing, in that case, should we take it to be?
So, I think that would be fine, and then just somewhere to rest me, where I can have like a relaxing vibe of a room.
Oh, come on, give him the good polishing. Make him sparkle.
Very well. Fey Wing wax, an additional 12 gold pieces. Dwarven hands, requisitioned, as he begins to make a few notes. He looks toward the two of you and says, "Will there be anything else to your order, or shall I make the arrangements?"
That'd be fine for me.
I would love some cranberry juice, maybe with a little bit of sparkling water.
Very well. It will be sent to your chambers. Varnick, after a few moments, a rather rough-handed dwarven woman is summoned, looking toward Leandrin and says, "If I may take the armament."
Just be very gentle with him, please. And hands Varnick over to the dwarf.
She takes a long red fingernail and flicks the steel, which rings out truly, and she says, "Oh, well, I think you can stand whatever we have in store." As the blade is drawn into the back rooms, you can already hear the whirring of a whetstone.
Is this gonna hurt, or like what do I expect from this?
Oh, you should expect whatever you want to expect. You see the perpetually smiling face of the Moonstone Mask look down to you. Varnick, what exactly are your intentions tonight?
You know, I would never imagine Varnick to be, like, he's a very, I would almost say a minimalist, right? An amount of stuff he would do. So at this situation, it'd be like, I guess I'm getting cleaned. Any recommendations, or?
Well, absolutely. As you ask a dwarven woman about steel, she recommends the acid bath. She recommends a sharpening upon the whetstone. She also, of course, recommends a good bit of fey wax polish if you want to sparkle like the sun when you come out tomorrow.
Well, sure. That sounds fine, I think.
Well, we'll confirm that for you then. Varnick, the remainder of the evening is lovely. You have the few impurities in your edge taken away as you find yourself, for the remainder of the night, soaking in a soft pH, bubbling acid bath, taking off the invisible oxidants that had begun to form upon your blade. And by the next morning, as you are drawn out of the bath, you feel, in some ways, entirely yourself again.
Well, how much do I owe you as I'm getting kind of pulled out of this?
As you're being drawn from the acid bath, the question says, "Oh, the arrangements will be made up front. Don't worry."
Well, this was this was a first. Thank you for the time. I guess just lay me out to the front.
The second that you begin to say this was a first, already the dwarven woman says, "Well, that was lovely," and begins to slide you back into your sheath and swiftly exit toward the door. You find yourself laying crossbar wide, like spread eagle, upon the bed of the inn room that you and Leandrin have rented. Yet Leandrin has not yet returned here with the first rays of light in the morning.
Well, I would wait a little while. 30 minutes to an hour, I suppose, in the early morning.
Very good. Leandrin, you and Varnick got in last night, seeking out the Moonstone Mask. As the two of you separated, what happens?
Leandrin would enjoy all the creature comforts that was offered. Most notably, having her hair braided for the first time, at least not by her own hand. It's usually she fusses over that thing when she's making a performance, but today was not one of those days. It's just someone else was messing with it, and she was a little nervous, a little bit shaky. It's kind of a rare intimacy that she doesn't get to experience, and she's already planning her next moves. She knows what needs to be done in the end.
Leandrin, you find yourself within the comfort of your inn room that night, Varnick having been taken away to the acid baths in order to soak for an evening of self-reflection. whether you are laying out weapons or whether you are studying your own heart, after a while you hear a soft knock upon the door. Once, twice, 3 times.
Leandrin gets up and will open the door.
As you open the door, you see a tall drow elf woman, violet skin, complementing the shine of the moonstone mask. You can also see the finely cut dress that drapes from neck to ankles of white samite. You can see the expressionless mask look toward you and say, "You required companionship."
Ah, yes, come on in, yes.
She steps in, closing the door behind her. Remaining at the threshold, the moonstone mask looking slightly downcast as she awaits for further invitation.
Get comfortable on the bed there. I'm just going to. She's visibly shaking and quickly walks over to the vanity where there's a nightstand and pours herself a large cup of that cranberry juice and just throws it back very quickly. Like, oh, okay. Woo, yeah, we're doing this. We are doing this. And looks over at the person. Do you have a name or?
She looks at you with that faceless visage and says, "Any name given would be unimportant. My memories will have faded by morning. And as for my own comfort, it is yours which I am here to assure. What is it you require?"
I just want to be held. You know, like comfortingly, as like a mother would comfort their child.
The blank mask looks at you and says, "I am neither a mother nor a child, yet I will do whatever it is you ask. How do you wish to be held?"
And she walks over to this drow woman and just walks behind her and cradles like a teddy bear style kind of thing. I can say from personal experience, when I was 10, my dad would wrap himself around me in that kind of like big guy holding his little kid fashion, something like that.
Very good. She sits there, her hands upon her knees, unmoving, and says, "Very well, if that's what you wish."
Sorry, I'm scared. There's something I need to do. I don't know what's going to come next after it.
If you have something you need to do, then what brings you here?
To ready myself for it, of course.
Is that what you wish? Shall I help you ready yourself?
Well, my armor's not back yet, but I just wanted a moment to feel safe again. You're not going to remember this, but, you know, I lost my mother when I was, well, technically a very young, mature adult elf, but it was still far too soon.
What is it you wish to feel safe from?
The life I lead. You know, I won't spare all the details, but I've never been the best person. In fact, I'm often the worst person. Especially for every decision I've made, the recklessness I cause, and the havoc in my wake, hurting people, endangering them. Something I'm I'm quite prone to, honestly.
As you continue to cling to the immobile form of the drow elf, she shifts a hand and places it upon your own, and says, "Is that what you've come for, then? A blessing to destroy? Or to cause suffering?"
Guess if my goal is accurate, it would be a blessing to destroy.
"I will give to you whatever you wish." She takes a moment and looks broad and says, "I was never well instructed in religion, yet I have heard many times the singing of psalms from the churches of Chantea as I walk within the fields beyond the wall. Ask and you shall receive. I cannot disagree. If it is my blessing you wish, it is my blessing you have.
I
If
don't
it is
know.
my opposition,
Go ahead.
then you shall have that as well." Yet, you feel her turn within your arms, her well-muscled limbs pushing your own out of the way as the expressionless mask faces you, and says, "Yet I cannot give you what you wish unless you demand it for yourself. What is it that you want?"
I want the nerve to stop being taken advantage of. I want the will to do what must be done.
She tilts her head toward you, very slightly. You can feel the breath behind the mask, almost like the exhaust of an engine, for a brief moment, as it leans past you to whisper in your ear and says, "Then do what must be done. Go with my blessing. Whatever you wish to do, I will have no recollection of it. You have paid your dues. Do what you wish."
Very good. And she'll stir, getting up. She's in her just her normal resting clothes, which would be very modest, but still feminine enough. And hopefully her armor is prepared, and she will start donning it. All right, my lady of Shantea, with your blessing in mind, as she's sucking into buckle that belt. I need to get something done, and I'll probably be back maybe in a couple hours, if you wouldn't mind. And she's going to count out a couple of coins into a pouch, specifically 50 gold pieces, and lay them on the vanity. That will be for you personally, regardless of what is done and what happens. Hopefully I will be back and maybe we'll have some fun, but if I'm not back, at least let my friend Varnick know. He's the sword, the one that is currently getting polished, I think.
The mask looks at you impassively and says, "I will be gone with dawn's breaking. Good luck."
And she smirks and walks out of the room, walking down very quickly with purpose. She's going to approach the the clerk at the front and say, "I need to do some last-minute business. How much is all of this going to cost? I'd not like to leave any debts."
You can see a different frame upon the clerk, looking like a well-tanned human man, the same mask upon his face. "I'm sorry, what room is that?"
It should be room number 13 and 17.
He looks at you and says, for the evening, 50 gold pieces, in addition to whatever you've negotiated.
Oh, there was a couple of creature comforts that were in fact negotiated. I have some company who I hope will still be there by the time I come back. And then there's going to be polishing for a very special weapon. I think you got the deluxe treatment. I had a carafe of cranberry juice sent up to my room. Just, the list goes on. I just want to make sure I cover all my debts.
50 gold pieces. Each should be sufficient.
Very good. And she counts that out meticulously.
As the coinage is exchanged, Leandrin, you allow yourself back out into the night of Neverwinter. The multicolored glass lanterns that characterize the city glowing like fireflies within the mid-distance. You can hear the rushing of the river that bisects the city as you walk out of the Moonstone Mask. What would you like to do?
I would like some clarification really quick. The applying of poison, is it a timed event? Like, do I have like only a certain amount of time before it fades away? Do I have to do it as an action? How does that work?
So the application of poison does take an action. Unless you have the assassin subclass, it does require a sleight of hand check. And once it is applied, it has a 24-hour period of effectiveness.
Very good. So I was an assassin, but not anymore. I will go into a quiet corner and ensure no one is looking as I open one of those vials and apply the poison onto Grove, the dagger.
Very well. You can see the thick purple-black ichor of the purple worm poison dripping out like tar as you begin to coat the edge of the blade. Go ahead and give me a sleight of hand check. With a 15, you face no difficulties. Dipping the blade within the venom is a practiced act, and you find your task complete.
After this, Leandrin will go back in the direction of the Gilded Lily, but she will put on her hood. She'll wrap over her face and take a path that might take longer, but is one where she can be seen as little as humanly possible.
Give me either a history check or an insight check as you attempt to find a path that is the least conspicuous to your current employer. Dreamless sleep of the Gilded Lily. With a 7, you find yourself pressed over the Winged Wyvern Bridge, regardless, as you continue through the Protector's Enclave back into the Black Lake District. There are only 3 bridges that you could attempt here. The Winged Wyvern, the most populous, you hope to blend in, yet you know if any lookouts have been appointed, if anyone has been informed, certainly your passage will be noted here. You get the sense that you've gained no advantage en route. You find yourself very quickly moving into the by-street that the Gilded Lily is situated in. You can see the dim light from behind the glass, a few clerks and stock workers and salesmen continuing to ply their trade late into the night here.
I would like to make an investigation or perception check to find a back entrance, perhaps for receiving stock or perhaps a postern.
You got it. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Now, the lenses should give advantage, correct?
Eyes of minute seeing on an object that you could observe for a full minute within 6 inches, certainly. I don't think that's the case here. You're looking
So
for an
normal
entrance, right? Yeah. 17 is very solid. As you pick your way around the well-appointed building, the classical columns of old pre-devastation Neverwinter style visible upon the front. You make your way around into the back alleys, and you do indeed find a wooden warehouse door that draws up. As you can see, a horse and cart currently unloading a supply of potions being taken in by a number of broad-limbed figures.
I will watch quietly, wait for that shipment to finish, and then quickly and quietly enter.
Alright. Give me a perception check, first and foremost. With a 14, you wait until the rattle of potions from the back of the cart seems most distant. Thinking it to be the last portion of the load, you begin to make your move. With a successful perception check, go ahead and make me a stealth check at advantage. With a 25, you pull your cowl over your face as you move in amongst the broad-armed Goliaths and half-orcs into the back portion of the Gilded Lily. You can see a number of pallets stacked around you as employees move about, taking a moment to savor the finality of these goods having been unloaded.
You cut out for a little bit there. Say that again.
You move in, under pulling your hood over you. You move about the warehouse entrance here, as you see a number of these dock workers who have finished unloading the goods here, taking a moment to loll about in conversation, lighting a few cigars, a few points of fire appearing in the warehouse here, as they take a moment to appreciate the job well done.
Leandrin will quietly avoid those people, making them blissfully unaware, as she will navigate the building itself, looking for that familiar back entrance, that familiar back room that dreamless sleep had led her to.
You got it. Give me a history check at advantage or a perception check straight.
Perception check straight. It was supposed to be straight, but yeah.
26, as you press your way inside from the warehouse here, the back rooms are easily navigable. You have been to them multiple times, and most recently within 24 hours. Dreamless sleep having led you in from the sales floor. You can see the bright lights still burning as you look up to a staircase that leads to the sales floor, a glass door separating you from a number of silhouettes that move about the shelves like ghosts. Yet, as you gaze deeper into the darkness, you can see an open door, the same one that you had visited earlier today, and you can hear the sound of a excuse me, of a pin scratching upon parchment.
And I assume that's not a dark spot. It's a well-lit environment. So the moment I get in there is the moment I'm seen.
Not perhaps. You can see the very dim flame flickering, perhaps from a single candle, illuminating a journal.
I will continue to press forward, moving very, very quietly, very stealthily. Someone is messing with my sheet. But yes, I will continue forth, and I will move with stealth. I will take advantage of every possible shadow I can.
Very good. As you attempt to press your way inside here, Leandrin, any other preparations, any other thoughts as you begin to move over the threshold?
I only hear the scratching of a quill. I will pause briefly and listen for if anyone is going to enter the room, and I will also aim to lock the door, the glass door between the front room and the back room.
Very good. So first and foremost, you move up to lock that glass door. Go ahead and give me a stealth check or a sleight of hand check, whatever your preference is. With a 29, you creep up to that translucent barrier. You press your gaze against it for a moment. You see 7 or 8 broad-limbed stevedores moving packages about upon the barren shelves. You take a moment, fiddling with your thieves' tools, turning the mechanism within the lock. You know that even if they press through, they'll have to break the glass. You'll hear them coming. You turn back toward the dark passage before you. What next?
Okay. Weapons poisoned. I didn't hear any of those voices. I'm not going to try on that. I'm going to just press forward.
Very good. As you move to press forward here, you creep your way up toward the threshold of the open door here, the scratching of the parchment almost as loud as your own heartbeat. You can hear a soft humming coming from within the chamber. What will you do? The tune? Go ahead and make a history check.
Do I recognize the tune that is being hummed? Is it just...
Right. With a 15, it does sound familiar. It sounds like one of the tavern songs that your party has heard within the Fallen Tower. You can't place the name, but it's a catchy tune.
Are you lagging? Are you the only one?
He's lagging for everybody.
Any better there?
I would bet streaming and playing's probably borking the internet just a hair right now.
Doing all right
Probably.
there? Hello, hello. Hearing me?
I can hear you now.
you.
You cut out a little bit earlier, but yeah, I can hear you now.
Very good. In that case, yeah, you can hear the tune. It sounds like something you've heard hummed in the Fallen Tavern or in the Fallen Tower before. A local drinking song, something familiar to Neverwinter, yet you can't recall the words, only the melody.
Very good.
What next?
Do I have eyes on my target?
You do not. You have pressed your back up against the wall outside of the door. You can hear the scratching of parchment and the humming of music, yet you have not yet moved into the chamber.
With Krov facing downward against my chest, Leandrin, its muscles are very tense. She will peek in, look inside, see if she can look inside the room where there's shadows that she can follow. If it is a well-lit room, well, actually, no, I'll wait to see if there's any shadows I can follow.
Any shadows you can follow within the room as you peek inside. Give me a stealth check at disadvantage. With a 26, as you press your face around the corner, almost immediately you see a silvery wire burn along the door frame as you hear a solid ping into the darkness. Almost immediately you see the black-faced Tabaxi look up from the scratching of her quill toward the sound of the alarm spell.
Well,
As she
the
says,
alarm
"Edrin,
spell's been... Say again?
What do you have to report? I've told you multiple times not to disturb me when I am working. What do? You can see that her attention is upon the door before you.
Okay. Making her best butch voice to imitate that of the Goliath you very briefly heard. We just finished taking down the taking in the shipment, madam. Just coming in to let you know.
Go ahead and make a performance check.
I'm gonna laugh at myself.
16 is not bad. With a 12 on her insight check here, you see the ears twitch in irritation, and then return to the scratching of the quill as she takes down accounts and says, Edrin, I have explained this multiple times, very simply. I am not to be disturbed in the evening. Accounts are difficult to settle, and I do not need your idiocy interrupting these delicate operations. Please, return yourself to the sales floor, and I shall deal with you once we open.
All right. Would Leandrin know that was the alarm spell?
Yes, you would recognize such a spell in your line of work.
And would I know that it would ping again, maybe?
Make an Arcana check.
I should have stuck with the Arcana thingy.
No idea.
All right. Well, I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna take a quick moment, take a quick movement to go into that room. If I can, go in stealthily.
As you move your way in, like a shadow, working off the 26 stealth earlier, immediately the alarm pings. Yet, she doesn't see you. She simply looks up from her work as she says, Edrin, I thought I had explained... As she begins to look around, immediately you see her hand begin to dip to her side as the quill drops from it. What would you like to do?
If she cannot see me, would I have advantage on this attack?
What do you want to do?
I want to throw Krav at her.
Roll for initiative. Pull yourself out here. We're going to run this in Theater of the Mind.
And on that note, I'm gonna grab another drink.
Wisely said.
And she goes
So,
first.
she does. Dreamless sleep, the black tabaxi already leaping up from the table beside her, as you see in one hand a short sword, in the other a light crossbow, as she begins to search the area, inquisitive rogue that she is, as a bonus action. That's a 21. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check, Leandra. With a 19, you are spotted crawling upon the corner of the wall as you slick your way in here, a twitch of the tabaxi's ear, and suddenly you see the light crossbow pointed toward you, the bolt glistening in venom. Ah, Leandrin, I had expected you, yet not so soon. Success, I take it? Gazing at her face, you get the sense that there is nothing sincere reflected in that statement.
Leandra narrows her chatoyant eyes, just not taking her gaze off of her charge. She is reeling, readying for a painful hit. but she's poising her muscles for a quick lunge.
Very good. Dreamless Sleep is going to use an action to attempt to hide herself here as she kicks the table over and attempts to disappear into the darkness. With a natural 1, Leandrin, you see the table upon the back of her tail as she lets out a pained cry. You can see her pull herself out of it as she skitters into the corner. What do you do?
Leandrin will, with Klarov still very firmly in her hand. Sorry, I'm very shaky. I'm not sure if you can tell in my voice. But sneak attack, not going to happen. She's going to... Well, actually, I can use the bonus action to hide. In her moment of distraction, just with that tail crushed by the table, Leandrin will take a very quick moment to rush to a different position where she can immediately leave the line of sight of the tabaxi before her, with the goals to gain advantage for a sneak attack.
You gotta go ahead and roll me a stealth check there as you do what you can to gain advantage. Let me see here. That is an 18 versus the passive perception. You very briefly disappear into the gloam of the room, the flickering candlelight concealing you.
And then I will go ahead.
Go on.
Well, and then I will rush forth and hopefully plunge Krov into this woman's back.
Roll the hit.
This is with advantage.
It is. 24 hits. Now this has the
Proc off
poison
sneak.
upon it.
Yep.
14 is going to fail here. Let me double check your damage there.
All right. This is my normal damage from the sneak attack and the stab.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll me
Purple
an
worm
additional
poison.
12d6. 31 points of damage here, reduced to 15. Dreamless Sleep has a natural natural resistance to poison thanks to her profession here. That is a total of 44 points of damage. Immediately, you see the black tabaxi's fur turn almost gray as the venom seeps into her body. You can see it begin to spasm, her mouth choking with foam as she attempts some reply. Still alive, though, Leandrin. Anything else?
That's my action. That's my bonus action. I will take my object interaction to bring out Splinter. That way I have my AC of 16. I will not allow myself to be have an attack of opportunity taken against me. So yeah, that's it.
Very good. Immediately, as Dreamless Sleep's turn begins here, she calls out with a choking voice. Aaron! Help! Back office! And panting as best she can, though immediately you hear a rustling of the lock at that door that you had closed and secured. Moments later, she is going to use an action here to drink a potion as she reaches into her own robes, fishing out an aniseed black vial. As she downs it, coughing a little bit, spitting blood, immediately you see her form begin to blur as she darts toward you, using her hasted action to attempt an attack. Sorry, to attempt a multi-attack here. 17 to hit.
17 will hit.
Go ahead and give me a Constitution save.
That should not be an
19,
advantage.
You take a total of 18 points of damage here. As the short sword bites into your forearm, immediately you feel your muscles begin to spasm as whatever venom coats the blade sinks into your bloodstream. Hasted in front of you, having used an action to attack, having used an object interaction to summon her friends, she is then going to attack you with the light crossbow in her other hand. A 20 to hit.
That will still hit.
11 points of piercing damage, and give me the con save. 35 points of damage here, Leandrin. As the venom burns into your body, you can feel your consciousness beginning to fade. You can hear the banging at the doors in the distance as Dreamless Sleep attempts to move into the corner and load another quarrel. What would you like to do?
All right. Is she still within my melee range, or did she leave my melee range?
She would have left your melee range there. Go ahead and make an attack of opportunity.
This one will be with Splinter.
15 is just going to hit here, scraping through her studded leather. Go ahead and give me the damage. $15, 8 points of damage here. One moment. Taken. As you manage to drive the tip of the rapier into the back of her thigh, she springs around, her fangs bared like a feral cat. Leandrin, anything else?
Well, that was my attack of opportunity. This should be my main attack. It should be my turn now, right?
Yep.
At which point... sorry, Uller, I'm going to have to steal one of your potions here. Bonus action to drink one of these greater potions of healing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what a greater healing potion was. 44.
44 plus 4, as I recall?
4. Now, that's a bonus action to drink it yourself, right? Action to apply, right?
Yes, to self-administer is a bonus action.
And then I will take my action, rushing up towards her again with Splinter. I'm going to try and stab again. I will burn my inspiration point to do so with advantage.
Roll a hit. 23 hits. Now, I think inspiration should give you sneak attack here, given that you are working with advantage, yeah?
Yes.
Very good. 22 points of damage. As the rapier plunges into her chest, she manages to use her uncanny dodge to reduce that by 11 points, twisting as she does so. You can see the rapier buried just above where her heart should be, as she looks back at you and says, I expected this, yet not nearly so soon. You've grown audacious, having earned a title. Anything else, Leandrin?
That's it. That's my action. That's my bonus action. I'm reeling for a big hit.
Very good. She looks toward you, her own blades beginning to flash out. 21 to hit.
21's definitely gonna hit. Here comes your con save.
No constitution save necessary here, as the poison has already been expended upon the first strike of both the short sword and the light crossbow here. You take the 5 points of poison damage, you take the 5 points of piercing damage, and the light crossbow, the quarrel having been reloaded, a 25 to hit.
I assume she has crossbow expert to not be at disadvantage.
No, she actually doesn't. Hold up. That's a natural 1. The second bolt, glistening with venom, going wide here. As she presses it up toward your throat, you bend out of the way. As that happens, you hear a banging sound as the door behind you comes bursting open, and you hear the sounds of heavy footsteps surging down toward the office. Leandrin, that brings us to you.
All right, well, I need this next attack to kill this damn bastard. I don't have any more sneak attacks. All right. Just make another stab with the rapier. This time at normal.
23 hits.
That should not be
8
with sneak
points
attack.
of piercing damage, twisting in the shoulder, yet Dreamless Sleep still draws breath. You can see her panting before you, her eyes shifting from your own guard to the sound of her allies moving toward her. Anything else on your turn?
Bonus action to stab with Krov.
Go for it. 17 hits. 7 points of piercing damage is exactly what you need here. Tell me how you dispatch your erstwhile employer in the moment that you see 2 large-bodied stevedores come rushing around the door.
Leandrin will, with that first stab with Krov going into the liver, the second one, no, the first stab with Splinter going into the liver, the second stab with Krov going straight into the heart. She's going to lean in close and say, I'm really sorry about this. Just gotta get some attention.
As that is said, you hear her croak out with the final few words. You were never beyond their gaze, you fool. As she chokes upon her own poison in that moment, you can see moving around the corner here, Leandrin, a couple of large-bodied thugs blocking the doorway. Your bonus action having been used, what do?
How tall is the roof?
How tall is the roof here? About 12 feet high.
So the roof is about 12 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
That still puts me in melee range.
Ceiling, rather, in this area.
I will use my movement to crawl along the... Actually, no, I will run vertically up the roof, and then I will sheathe my weapons and place myself prone against the roof using my spider climb to lay flat, hopefully giving myself the distance to not be within melee range.
Very fair in this case, Leandrin. As you press yourself against the roof, the 2 thugs come in, one of them immediately seeing Dreamless Sleep's state, rushing up toward her and attempting to apply pressure toward the wounds. You see that as he does so, Dreamless Sleep draws a ragged breath. The other thug leaps up toward the ceiling and attempts to strike at you with disadvantage. A 7 and a 17 to hit for 3 points of damage.
Cool.
Dreamless Sleep, unconscious but stabilized. Leandrin, you see her 2 employees immediately warding you off of the body. What would you like to do?
The body is still unconscious, right?
It is unconscious, yes.
Well, how do I want to do this?
How do you want to do this?
I will do it this way. I will use another bonus action to ingest in a greater healing potion. I'm sorry, Uller. I will pay you back. $13 points of healing given. I will draw my 2 weapons once again, and I will immediately go towards the unconscious form, aiming to kill her.
Very good. Dropping down next to the 2 thugs here. Go ahead and roll your attacks.
This one should be with advantage, correct? Because she is flat.
Sure is.
Splinter, don't fail me now.
A 19 to hit as you drag the blade through the back. 2 failed death saves. What next?
This should proc sneak attack, correct? And that should also give me Wails from the Grave.
Very good. You designate that on one of the targets here.
Yep, I will designate it on the one that stabilized her. And these Wails, the Deacon of Joy just being like, no, you should have paid attention to her. Yeah! Just dealing this damage. Wails from the Grave. How much is it? I need to roll my sneak attack first. That's my sneak attack.
7 points here.
It's not the most impressive.
As the spectral hand reaches out, stealing a bit of life from the safeguarding thug here. Anything else, Leandrin? Bonus action?
No. I used my bonus action to drink a potion.
Very good. 2 failed death saves. The thugs in front of you immediately beginning to converge upon you. You can see maces beginning to fly through the air as they approach you one at a time. A 21 to hit, 6 points of bludgeoning.
Cool.
And as the second thug approaches, you can sense the authority that they share together, the determination in this moment. These attacks made an advantage, an additional 6 from a 22.
I'll use my uncanny dodge to reduce that 6 down to a 3.
Very good. You can see Dreamless Sleep in front of you, attempting to struggle for breath. As you see the lips turn purple, you see the heart cease beating in the throat, and visible only to you, you see a wisp of that very spirit exhaled from the mouth, yours to claim in this moment.
I will claim this token of the departed.
Leandrin, that brings us to you. Wounded as you are, you can see the mace-wielding thugs in front of you still defending the body of their erstwhile employer.
So she is very much just a body now, right?
Looks like it.
Meaning I can just grab it, sling it over my shoulder, disengage, and just rush on past them, correct?
If you have the movement speed. Although I will say that carrying a body into the streets of Neverwinter is always a dangerous proposition.
It always is. But I have spider climb, bitch.
What do you wish to do?
I'm going to use an object interaction to grab the corpse. And with my, through my hooded face, I'm going to wink at one of the guards, ding, and start dashing on out of here.
Very good.
I will
Object
first use
interaction,
my
grab the
action
body,
to
bonus action
disengage.
to disengage.
What?
Yep. Very good. As you begin
yes.
to hurtle yourself through the Gilded Lily here, Leandrin, out into the city streets.
Oh, I was going
carrying
to
the
go
body.
through the bottom way. Not going through the store itself.
Regardless, out into the city streets, whether you enter from the main street or from an alley, you quickly hear the sounds of ringing watchmen's bells throughout the area as the alert goes out from the Gilded Lily most swiftly. Quickly, a skill challenge. What skills do you employ to transport this body back to its necessary position?
When he's first off, I will attempt a. Well, I will see if I can notice any quiet spaces using perception, perhaps.
Sure.
Make sure I'm at normal.
As you press your way out from the Gilded Lily, you remember constantly the Black Lake, the tar-like surface of the only placid body of water here within Neverwinter. You remember the homeless individuals that make their camps upon the lake, and also the occasional fishermen that ply their lines into it. You feel that may be a good place to get lost.
All right. I will know that the Black Lake and that space is a good place to get lost. Could I then attempt an athletics or a stealth check to avoid anyone's sight or simply just start bolting with sheer dampier speed?
Yeah, whatever your preference is.
All right.
With a 28, you manage to keep to the shadows, pulling along the body of Dreamless Sleep, cloaked in her own garb, as though she is just a big catch of fish being drawn away from the shore. You manage to draw her down to the beach here without any difficulty.
I will then use investigation to find the most secluded spot. Actively searching for the most secluded spot.
Go for it.
Also, I'm sorry, I didn't expect this to take so long, guys.
With a 19, you do find a secluded cove, a little ways away from the common fishing activity. You can see a great deal of glass and tar that has washed up upon the beach here, yet you step through it nimbly, taking advantage of the inhospitable environment in order to gain a little bit of solitude.
Am I free from the immediate charge, or is the skill challenge continuing?
It feels as though you have drawn yourself away from the Gilded Lily here, in possession of a corpse.
Very good. I will use, if I have the time to, being very cautious about this, use Speak with Dead on Dreamless Sleep.
Very good. What are the 3 questions you ask?
It should be 5 questions, right?
I believe it's 3. I might be confused, but 5 questions, yep.
Who is disciple of compassion?
Leandrin, as you begin to ask your questions, the corpse begins to speak. The answers are known only to you. You are back within the Moonstone Mask the next morning, the first to retrieve Varnic, your own rest having been insufficient. Whatever has transpired here between you and Dreamless Sleep in this night is something that you will hold close to your heart. Yet, as dawn breaks, you know that your companions require you back in Neverwinter, or back in Phandalin. Varnic, Leandrin didn't make it in until the sun was rising. Did you remain on the bed the whole night, or?
I would probably, I would imagine, right, around morning, I would, like, early morning, he'd come out and just wait at the front desk and the receptionist. He'd say, well, she has my money, so I'll be right here just until she comes to pay.
Very good. As the sword crawls its way through the common room, hearing the common shouts of "Snake! Snake! No, no, no! Sword! Sword! Perfectly fine." As you make your way past, you lean up against the Majordomo's podium, Leandrin eventually entering, settling debts, as I believe have already been done so, and recollecting her equipment here. Your business here in Neverwinter finished? Perhaps. Your shopping certainly complete. A few loose ends tied up.
Well, what were you up to? Out pretty early in the morning?
Oh, just doing a bit of exploring.
I didn't know this town was that interesting to you. However, you got the money. I think it's like 100 gold.
I should have already reduced. It was 50 gold from each of us, so that was. I already took that off of my list, and then I paid the nice lady an extra 50 for her time.
I guess I'll just ask it. Um, is Leandra look ragged from not having a night of sleep or anything?
Make an insight check. With a 26, you see it. More than just physically, you can see Leandrin's unwillingness to meet your gaze. You can see that there's a great deal on her mind here.
You can event to me what happened whenever we're flying back. Anyway, I'm ready to go when you are.
Oh, sounds good. I'm gonna probably take a nap in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know it'll be hard, right? The turbulence is, it's pretty
Oh,
shaky.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Come on, let's get you out and outside of the city so you don't make everyone panic that there's another dragon on the loose.
Oh well, I mean, we can just here stop by the guard's office. I'll tell them that not to shoot at me.
I'd rather not stop by the guard's office right now.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So Varnick, Leandra.
Besides,
Well, uh, I mean, if you insist, I mean, I don't have legs and I don't want to scoot across town, so.
yeah. And she's gonna grab you and like admire the sparkly polish. Ooh, I can see my face clearly in your shine. Maybe I should call you Sparkle Sword.
Ha 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 ha! Please don't.
Oh, come on, it'll be fun. Just one time.
No, I'm fine.
Okay, fine. Let's go. And Leandrin's going to step on out carrying their very convenient Varnick sword.
Very good. Moving out, falling into the company of a caravan that is leading toward the south, off toward Baldur's Gate, you exit Neverwinter without much in the way of questioning. Splitting off about a mile from the city, you find a grassy valley in which to confirm your wild shape here, Varnick, transforming back into the Quetzalcoatlsaurus? Quetzalcoatlus?
Yeah.
Very good. As you begin travel that morning, you fly all day, reconvening almost 12 hours later. As night begins to fall, as evening begins to settle over Phandalin here, there is a tremendous sound outside of the sleeping giant inn. A couple shouts of surprise as Uller, Adriel, Gwyn. Almost 18 hours have passed since last night. In between paranoia, planning, and the continual advisements of the good Dr. Bryce that everything here needs to be burnt down and you need to get the fuck away before the Pixie Mafia comes after you. Let's take a quick 5-minute break, and then I'm going to want you guys to tell me what has gone down since last night.
I'm just gonna say publicly that Varnick's on fucking notice. Don't show up in I don't know, Gwen's workshop looking like that. Oh yeah.
With the Fey polish? Come on.
Ow.
Yeah. How do you think I'm gonna feel about that?
Get that shit off of you right the fuck now, boy. We'll wear that shit around here. Listen. We're about to like see you and fucking scream in terror. Fucking, he's working for the.
What do you mean?
Do you think I, as somebody who grew up with dwarves and cares a lot about their weapon, is going to be thrilled that anybody polished you?
Mm.
I'm just saying, I had to expand my Kazalid vocabulary after that.
Nobody
character
gets
would
to
be like-
polish off Varnick except Adriel. Wait, what?
Take it back.
And then immediately tells you about my new body. Oh, I didn't know you felt this way.
200% look me in the eyes.
Both of those are wrong. Well,
We're taking 5 minutes. I'm gonna hit the bathroom and just switch my headset over to actual headset.
I was exploring. Not much to explore here, but okay.
That should be good. Everyone should be able to hear me.
I can hear you a lot better, yeah.
Can we hear the peeing too?
Oh
On
yeah.
screen?
Fucking hell.
Let's go.
Still thinking about that. Yeah, let's not go to the guard tower. No, absolutely not. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Uh.
I'm in danger.
Oh gosh, I'm so tense. Sorry about that. I didn't expect that to take as long as it did, but it did. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You got my sword polished.
Yeah, you certainly got your sword polished.
The sword
how
is polished.
Karnak
The
be
tip
upset?
is gleaming.
It function as a decanter of endless water, but not water.
Don't push your luck.
Oh, come on. uh,
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're all good.
Oh my god.
Alright, I am ready
Which-
to go whenever y'all are.
Switching back over to the other chat.
cool.
Very good. So, the previous night, having discovered a spy amongst Bryce's goat herd, the party very narrowly succeeded in capturing the black-furred satyr that now sits in front of you, having been black-bagged and dragged into the one private inn room of the sleeping giant. You can see Bryce currently banging nails into the door as he looks back toward the party, a mouthful of nails, saying, I told you guys last night we should have just dig a hole, we should have put her in the hole, and we should have no problems in the future. But no, you insist we're going to be the big heroes. We don't kill anybody. What the fuck do we do now?
Wazok, it's been about a day. Can you calm down?
No, I cannot calm down as long as my life is being threatened like it is.
You want to describe the satyr in more detail, like how
Yeah.
they've been
You
acting
can
the
see
past
that
night
she
or
is
so?
dressed. She has been dressed in a black frock, about ankle length, with a couple of tattered white silk portions upon the ankles and upon the wrists and upon the collar. You can see that her fur is a very curly black, and her horns as well look like a curly black ram's horns. You can see that she has a deep purple iris, and she has been watching the party with a mixture of pity, hatred, and overall silence, despite any attempts to speak to her or any attempts to motivate her otherwise, unless the party is feeling particularly creative on those fronts.
Can I just do an insight check on the person, or is that the insight that you're giving us?
You're welcome to do an insight. That's what you guys would have gotten from over the course of 18 hours of captivity. Anything beyond that is up to your characters.
Yeah, I'll just try to look at them real quick and do an overall insight just based on how I'm feeling, I guess.
So with a 6, Uller, the only thing that you would notice is that her own capacity for stoicism approaches your own. Your party the previous night having removed the false tooth from her mouth containing the venom that she attempted to imbibe. Since then, she hasn't made a peep. Just looking at your party with a defiant expression and having occasionally attempted to provoke you to violence.
I guess I'll move over to the other two party members, Gwen and Adriel. This person's tied up. Most likely at this point, some sort of silence. So, any plans on what we're going to do with this one?
I could harass her about stones and such until she finally breaks and tells us everything. Probably take a few days though. She
What
has, like,
happened
a
with you guys?
grin about it.
Oh, by the way, and Uller, Leandrin will give you the potions that she had left over, unless I was allowed to buy more from another spot.
Leandrin and Varnick haven't quite returned at this point. We're figuring out what's happened in the intervening time that you guys have been in Neverwinter in the overnight.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
I would look at Gwen and Uller and say, this seems good trade for the court, but I'm not one for the means of what we need to get information from this creature. I trust you to have ways more applicable than I have taste for. I will trust you two to this.
We would have gotten a long rest during that, right? Because you said it's been 18 hours since then?
It has. You've definitely gotten a long rest since then.
Okay.
Indeed, you've had activity, you've had the time to perform many other activities if you so wish. The principal thing on your minds, though, would of course be interrogating and keeping captive this agent that you have discovered.
So here's the question. Why is she so keen on getting us to beat on her? Is there something more to it? Perhaps a spell of some kind that'll summon help to her if Holly should befall her?
I'm not one to commit crimes against the Fae. I try to stay above board where I can, so harming a Fae seems dangerous to me.
Yeah, I guess I'll attempt a conversation with this person. Just looking towards the two of them, go. We're out of earshot of this thing.
If you wish to be, you can have secreted this entity within the inn room that you guys normally occupy.
Yeah, I guess just real quick with them, I guess I'll have the quick conversation. I'm not going to effectively harm them, but I can take a stab at trying to make it into the inside of their mind.
What do you wish to do?
I'm just gonna, I guess, walk in with the party. Um, they can continue to do whatever they're going to do. Um, take out my water skin filled with fresh water. Take a nice big swig, fully swallow it directly in front of this creature, and take the water skin and reach it out towards them as if I'm trying to give them a drink themselves.
Sure. Make a persuasion or intimidation check.
I am not trying to intimidate at all with this. So I'm guessing persuasion.
With an 18, after a moment, she begins to move her rope-bound hands in the direction of the water skin, prying the palms open in order to take it if you allow her to.
I'll simply just no. Don't you worry. Put your hands at your side. I can take care of this for you. And I'll simply just move the water skin up to the lips of the creature.
She looks at you with abject disgust for a moment, but then moves her lips to the skin. Taking a long draught, she tries to take it from your grasp, biting down with those goat-like teeth upon the edge, as she does not allow you to pull it back until it has been emptied. After a moment, though, she spits out the cusp of the water skin, looks up to you, and says the first words you've heard her speak, which is, "Repulsive. I don't know how you can stand it."
Is he still blue?
Uller? Yes, he is definitely still blue from that
100%.
wild magic mishap that he had.
100% I'm blue. Um, I'll look back towards the creature, kind of head cocked. What's repulsive?
She looks at you, rolling her eyes and then gesturing around, and says, "The air? The water? The people here? I don't know how you can stand to be away from home."
At that, are they speaking in common?
She is speaking in Sylvan.
Oh, alright. I was gonna say she was gonna like sniff herself, to see if she actually stank. But alright, never mind.
I'll just, well, sometimes we do what we must do to survive, to move on. Isn't that the way?
Right. Moving on. Survival. Things the summer court is famously invested in, right? She rolls her eyes hugely again and gestures toward the water skin.
First words we've heard from you in hours. Mostly criticisms about the way that we live out in this outside world.
Yeah, well, consider them valuable in that case.
And
What are you doing out here exactly?
well, I'll pull over a chair, sit right down in front of her, and let me tell you a little bit of a story.
She
See, long
gestures
ago,
with her bound hands and says, "I've got all day."
wonderful. then you will listen. Long ago, I was roaming the Feywild, just as you are day to day, except for today. Free like all Fey folk. And at this point, I'll kind of look back towards Adriel, look back towards Gwen for a half a second, and look back towards this creature. And my people, the other Fays, were taken, captured. Myself feeling that I needed to take action, try to save my friends, my neighbors, my family. I believe that if I tried to free them, others would surely come to help me as well. In that, I was captured, taken, locked in a cage. Every day, hoping one day that I would be saved by the Fey folk that I was raised with, that I lived with. No one ever came from the Fey to save me. The Fey abandoned me in that night, just as I feel they abandon you now. You try to take your life on their behalf, and now you're here, trapped among us, and the only thing we ask for is answers for what you are doing among us.
She blinks at you impassively as you tell this story and says, "Oh, you were a real exile then, not an agent."
So,
I'm
exile?
sorry, am I wrong? Do you remember an allegiance? Titania of the Summer Court, King Oberon of the Gloaming Court, the Queen of Air and Darkness, Dagda, Rita Guar. I'm sorry, do any of these names mean anything to you?
Just as the Fae have abandoned me, it seems that everything else has simply slipped my mind.
Got you. She nods herself and says, "Okay. Tell you what, could we do each other a favor, maybe?"
Go ahead,
No?
speak.
Okay, maybe you take that big, broad bow of yours and take one of those broadhead arrows and just pull it back. And if you could just put that straight through my skull, I would be eternally grateful. I'll put in a good word for you. Promise. Promise. Because you guys are fucked. You know that, right? As she shakes her bound wrists and says, I mean, even an out-of-towner like you, with absolutely no memory of what's what, you realize you're fucked, right?
Huh. All right, Gwen. I
I
guess it's your turn to have some fun. Fey creature doesn't want to listen to some words. Let's see if they want to listen to your metal instead.
should go. Excellent. Snap her fingers, and the turn will tear itself down from her back, and it will glow a violent crimson red. And I want to use a spell on it to enlarge it as well.
As you cast enlarge upon the turret.
Yeah.
The spider dragon manifesting in front of it as the treads of the wheels burn toward the Fae. She attempts to blink at it impassively, but you can see a little pressing back of the ears as the turret approaches.
Yeah. And
I'm
She'll
going
just get it as.
to.
Oh,
Sorry, I was just going to say, as I start to back away from the chair, pulling it out of the way to allow the turret to expand in this area, I'm going to cast guidance onto Gwen. And the way that I'm going to do it is simply just look towards her and go, Fae like to be free, but I'm sure they definitely don't like to be trapped inside of steel. Wouldn't you be able to transfer someone's soul into something like that and make them into a statue outside of town? And I'm going to just simply back against the wall, put my feet up, and sit down in the chair.
I mean, there's already the sword bogue. I'm sure I could manage. And she'd start inching this turret with fire kind of like oozing out of its mouth as close as she can get the thing, which is like tiger-sized, to her face. And so the metal dragon head, which is super hot, is now like pretty much right against her without touching
Got
her.
it. Make an insight check, or sorry, an intimidation check with advantage.
Why can't I find it? There. 19.
+3
With a
for guidance.
19, as the turret begins to bite in her direction, she begins to let out a squeal of terror. As she says, "What the fuck? What happened to you here? Are you serious? Are you really? What the? Okay, peace. What do you want to know? Serious? What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck? Have you gone native? What is this?" As she looks toward Uller. I'm sorry, have you forgotten every law of hospitality? What the fuck? Just kill me. What is this?
Kill you. She'll glance back over to Uller, like kind of seeing if he wants her to continue.
I'll just look towards her, put up a hand for 1 second, go, "Give me your name, creature."
Okay, fine. Do I have your guarantee that I'm going to be treated under some laws of hospitality as a prisoner, or am I just giving you something to give it?
She'd pull the turret back a little bit.
She looks Uller dead in the eyes and she says, "A name is a guarantee. What guarantees do you offer me?"
So I'm gonna think to myself for a second because I don't like dealing with Fae. I guess I'll just look back towards her and simply drop my arms straight down into my side. Still kind of relaxed position, just go, "I simply cannot guarantee anything in this world."
Okay, that's a bad deal. Anyone else got a better offer? As she looks toward the other individuals within the room, Adriel and Gwen.
Well, she'll look over to the turret. Went back to her. What guarantee do you want, huh? What are
She
you
looks to you.
expecting?
I think it would be very fair. A name for a name. I came here to find out some things about a certain individual. It seemed like you were involved. I was trying to learn some things about you, I'll be perfectly honest. If we could exchange names, maybe that's a basic bound of trust.
Gwen would raise her hand up and start moving the turret just a little bit closer.
So is that another intimidation check?
Yeah, it's like I'm not. It won't be as close as it was before, but it is a bit closer.
Go for it.
Can I throw guidance on that?
Sure.
And she'll drop her goggles too.
Do I know why they want our name?
When since that's like just people knowing things, would I be able to roll in Arcana too?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm a Fae. Do I get it?
I'm certain you get it. Which is...
I'm gonna.
Names have... Go on.
I'm gonna use a flash of genius on the intimidation, so add 5 to it.
Okay.
So
or
17 plus
21.
5.
As the turret presses against her face, she leans against it and says, "No, okay, Steel, me and Steel, we don't get along. If you could just pull that the fuck back for a second, okay? Fine.
Yeah.
Willow Switch,
She'd pull it
Chief
back.
Intelligencer Willow Switch of the Chestnut Court. I'm here on official business. If you want to reach into my breast pocket, you will find
Thank you.
a lily leaf.
Yeah,
that
you're
is
going.
You're lagging really bad.
Okay, hold up.
He's staring at his
The Fae got him! Everyone run!
You gave the name, and then this is what happens.
Yeah, I'm out. See ya. I'm gonna go hide in the
Oh, we're
mountain.
doomed.
So, what's the last thing y'all heard?
I heard Willow switch, and then I got all giggly.
Yeah, she has her hands raised. She says, "Okay, fine. Willow Switch, Chief Intelligencer Willow Switch of the Chestnut Court. If you want to reach into my breast pocket, you will find a lily with the court's insignia on it. That's my badge of office. Listen, if you've come here looking for hostages, we can make a deal. What do you want from me?"
Adriel will walk up, looking for the badge, finding it because I assume I'm not being deceived here. Adriel's a lovable dude, kind of dumb. Gonna pull out the big Phaserus axe and start shaving the back of the goat's neck while I look at it. And say, "My name is
do you
Leandrin.
reach into her pocket?
Oh,
My name is Leandrin Kilkov," while I pull that out of her pocket.
Okay, so as you pull it out of her pocket, first and foremost, it's a big rose that immediately squirts you with water in the face, and she says, "Sorry, not that one, not the other one, a little deeper." And as you pull out a crumpled white lily, you can see inscribed upon it are a number of imprints upon the petals of what look like a chestnut that has been covered in ink.
Like I said, Adriel just amazed by what seems like buffoonery here. Gives Leandrin's name as I start to look at it and say, "Why would an officer attempt to kill themselves?"
Go ahead and make a persuasion check. She looks at you, rolling her eyes, and says, "Okay, if I really have to break it down from the beginning, it's not... everything you're doing right now is completely fake, to put it very simply. Literally everything from the goats, to the people in the city, to you guys holding weapons in front of me, it's completely fake. I'm basically here in a dream state right now, and when I wake up from it, I'm gonna tell people what I remember."
Seems a bit much.
"We really don't want to harm you. We'd be happy to return you to the court tomorrow. Happily, you know, you have my name, so you can trust me. If you struggle, I'll have to kill you. If you attempt to run, you'll die in
Okay.
the spot. But
Super duper. She immediately begins writhing against the ropes that bind her as she attempts to struggle out of them.
Right, get out the way, Adro. She clearly don't understand that I can still cause pain to her without killing her.
What do you do, Gwen?
Start moving the turret closer once again. Stop moving.
Make an intimidation check. With the 16, she starts biting against the bonds that wrap around her wrist with those goat teeth, just gnawing cud in front of you. She says, or what? Or you're gonna kill me? What's up?
Barons don't kill you that quickly, lass. Look to the other ones. If they give me the go-ahead, I'm gonna ram her with the thing and start burning her. Because now
Go
she's just
for
gonna
it.
start. Oh, well, I can just get up and walk away. Fuck you.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Just look to the other two. If they say go, then I ram her with it.
yeah, I'm not gonna.
Oh damn!
I got distracted and I'm reading into a spell book currently.
Like your character is?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, shit. Now I gotta follow through. Just gonna kind of ram a, tiger-sized turret with probably red-hot metal into her.
Sure. In that case, go ahead and roll me an improvised weapon attack.